Karthik Malli, right?
Hi. Yeah.
Hi, hi. I came across you on Twitter and I was surprised by the work you were doing. Can you introduce it and your interest in
Uh,
languages?
so I run a handle on Twitter
Yeah.
at Tian Changwan.
What does it mean? It
Uh,
sounds very Chinese.
yeah, it's Mandarin for Devanagari.
I see. For
Yeah.
Devanagari?
Yeah. So it means like the divine city script,
Okay.
Devanagari.
Okay.
So yeah, so I chose that because I thought it'd be distinctive. But I post about like Indian languages,
Yeah.
like stuff I read, like papers or like academic books, and like I realized there wasn't much on Indian languages like in linguistic or like academic sense. Like you have pieces on like literature, stuff like that, but nothing on the actual linguistic side of things. I was part of some communities on like not social media, but like on like messaging groups and stuff, and I saw there was an interest in that, and I was interested in like posting my learnings and like my readings, like the results of my reading somewhere. So I thought, okay, like Twitter might be the right medium for that, and like it's I think I've gotten like a good response. Like, I have like 600 followers,
Wow.
and there are people who read it like regularly and stuff, and it's been pretty fun because I've been able to like connect with people through that, and yeah, like learn more as well.
So you're trying to explain the roots of Indian languages, how they connect with each other, with the influences on Indian languages?
Yeah, so that's one of the things. Like basically, look like I'm trying to look at them with more nuance, which
Yeah.
I think is like lacking in India because like you, for example. I'm from Chennai, so like whenever I talk about like Tamil, for example, there are some people who get offended because they're like,
Language is like religion here.
yeah, so they're like, you said this word is from Sanskrit, like, but I'm like, no, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
This was like, this is what like an actual linguist said, and I'm just like reporting what I read. I didn't like say that myself, so they don't have that level of nuance. It like affects them personally. So, and it's common in India when you talk about like certain things. So I was seeing that, and I thought, fine, like this would help because I'm not just saying this. This is like stuff that actual academics have said. I feel like yeah. So I'm just trying to like add that level of like some element of nuance and like get into like the specifics of like how some languages work like grammatically or like structurally or like phonetically, for example, like unique sounds in some languages or like how those sound systems relate to each other. Like for example, Dravidian languages have like completely different sounds, not completely different, but they have like a different sound system and stuff like that. So like
Your blog posts are very interesting. Can you give us an example of two or three of them?
sure.
Some of the
Thanks.
interesting ones you remember.
I'll like try to talk about something Goan related because I'm in Goa. I remember like one of the posts. Wait a minute. Yeah, so I was reading how there are like caste divisions in Konkani
Yeah.
in Goa, and these there are like Brahmin dialects, but
Yeah.
there are also Brahmin dialects among the Christian dialects.
Right.
So you have Hindu Brahmin, Hindu non-Brahmin, then you have Christian Brahmin, Christian non-Brahmin.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird matrix because you don't expect that.
Yeah.
But this is actually studied by linguists and stuff, and they have like samples of how they differ.
True.
And then they were like they even had like word lists like and stuff. That was one thing. Another thing I found interesting was how uh like there are some wait yeah, so basically like all these random words that show up in other languages, like let's say from Sanskrit. Like, Sanskrit is like a huge source of words for Indian languages, and how like they pop up everywhere else. Like for example, in most of India, like Muslims use Persian vocabulary for like cultural and like religious terms. But in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, what they do is, and coastal Karnataka, what they do is they use native terms, or they even use Sanskrit. For example, in Kerala, for like Ramzan, like a term they use is Punya Masam.
I see. Meaning?
Punya is like Sanskrit for like it's the opposite of pop, so it's like a good merit, like good deeds.
I see.
So like
I
Punya
see.
Masam, like literally a month of good deeds and
I
like
see.
you know pious deeds and
Wow.
stuff. But it's a Sanskrit term, so like if you would use that in like let's say like a North Indian context,
Yeah.
someone might think it's like a very Hindu
I see.
term because it's
I see.
Sanskrit, but it's not. It's
I
just
see.
a language. So and like
Indian languages are this huge mix and this huge churn of different influences, no?
yeah, I mean absolutely
Like, for example?
for example, like we were talking about how like before English,
Yeah.
Portuguese was like the biggest source of like external loan words in Indian languages. In fact, I was reading this somewhere, and it's really cool. The first recorded instance of a Portuguese word in Telugu, or like in Telugu in particular, dates back to like the 16th century and features in a poem by Krishna Devaraya,
I see.
the
Oh,
Vijayanagara
wow.
emperor.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So he uses the word batu, which is duck,
I see.
which is not used in Indian languages. So they borrowed it from Portuguese. Batu. It's patu.
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 Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was batu in Telugu.
I see.
So that was an example. And like in some languages, you have the word. So in modern Portuguese, it's chave. Chave for key.
Yeah.
And a lot of Indian languages use like chabi,
Chabi.
savi. In Tamil, it's savi. In Hindi, it's chabi. So you have that as well. Then you have pagar in Hindi, which is salary, which is also from Portuguese, means pay. So you have like a lot of random words like that.
Even English has got hugely influenced by Indian languages, no? The Hobson Jobson.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
the Hobson Jobson is here, and it looks at how Indian words have gone into English.
Right. And in fact, like Indian English is something I talk about as well. Like not as much, but for example,
Okay.
Indian English has incorporated Indian sounds, right? And another thing it does is
Like,
so in Indian English you wouldn't say talk, you say talk. The t use the same t as in uh I don't know like ticket.
I see.
That's English as well, but like tippanni, right? So Hindi word. Yeah, so use a t. You don't use a t that I
I
would
see.
use. Um, so and another thing I posted like I think around a year ago was that so American English and like English spoken by I mean in the West has so it's basically what's called a stress time language. You have stress and like vowels that are not stressed are reduced. For example, mountain is mountain. It's mountain in American English. So the mountain part is stressed and everything else is just cut off. But in Indian English, it's not like that because Indian languages are syllable time. They give equal weight to each syllable. So like khatarnak is khatarnak. There's no reduction, right? Each vowel is pronounced.
Which is why our English is not enunciated well enough. Pronounced well
In
enough.
fact, you could say each vowel like is enunciated. So it's
Okay.
kind of the opposite.
Okay.
Where it's not like cut off. It's not reduced.
I see.
So, but when I posted this, I got some responses. I mean, some replies from I think there were professors or something of English, and they
I
were
see.
talking about how they teach English, and they were talking about how they couldn't get their heads around prosody and meter because those poems were written by like Americans or British people, and like their stress patterns are
I
different. And they don't like as Indians, they don't have the same stress pattern. So it's like when they try reciting poetry in that meter, it
Yeah.
doesn't work for them.
Yeah, true.
So they were talking about how, like, as academics, they like tried dealing with that because that's their job. So that was pretty interesting because, like, and if you notice, like, a lot of stereotypes around England, Indian English are like related to how it's sing-songy.
Yeah.
So
Why is it sing-songy?
this, I guess, like,
Okay.
the vowels are not cut off, like,
Yeah.
so everything is pronounced
The
like,
same.
yeah, everything is given the same weight. So that was pretty interesting as well.
How did you get involved with this field?
I'm not sure. So I started when I was in college. I started learning languages, like
Which?
out of interest. I started with Spanish, pretty easy. So
And Mandarin.
yeah, Mandarin came a little later.
And
So now I'm just like dabbling, but I'm doing Mandarin, German, Portuguese. Like these are the three.
my goodness.
Yeah, and some Kannada and Hindi.
So you're going to become a walking, talking United Nations. I mean, like all the official languages of the United UN. Do Indians have a skill in learning languages? I mean, this is too generic.
So I think I think it's hard to say, but I think a lot of people are used to like learning quite a few. But at the same time, I think a lot of Indians are not very
adventurous.
Yeah, that, and plus I think they're not aware of some of the intricacies of their own speech, or like
I see,
or maybe even the nuances. For example, a lot of in India, like you have this whole thing where people worship like the written form. They're always like,
I see.
Oh, this is like slang.
Yeah.
For example, in Tamil, you take Tamil, the written form and the spoken form are completely divergent.
Really?
Yeah, so there's like 1,000-year difference between the two.
Really?
Yeah, it's like writing in Shakespearean English.
Wow.
But speaking in modern English.
I see.
It's that
that wide apart.
Yeah, but if you ask a Tamil person for a Tamil word, they will give you the written form because they consider
that paramount. Yeah,
that's the legitimate form.
That's legitimate.
This is slang.
Yeah.
So that's why if you see like dosa, we say dosa, right?
Yeah.
But if you see it written, it's DOSAI, which is the written form, because in formal Tamil it's dosai.
I see.
Dosai, vadai, but no one says that. It's always dosai, vada.
I see.
But they always, like people have this. Even in Hindi, like you if you ask someone for like a term, they give you like the Sanskrit form, but no one uses that.
We don't study this enough, obviously, in the moment.
Yeah, I think that element of nuance is lost. Like
any center you look forward to in India doing interesting work here.
I actually haven't interacted much with people from these institutes. I've mostly interacted with people who study in the U.S. and Europe, the West. Just say that. Apart from that, I haven't seen much. I mean, I've read papers like obviously from Indian institutes and stuff, but I think as far as I see it, the best scholarship is coming out of the West. Like all the best books and the best papers I've read are from the West.
So, what would be your long-term dream in terms of furthering your studies or research?
I'm hoping to get like an MA and like sort of examine. I'm pretty fond of the Deccan region.
I see.
And it's linguistic and like social history. So
pretty complex mix and very interesting mix.
It's very interesting. So I want to get into that, and because there's like a lot of languages. In fact, I was like to like Bidar, which is in Karnataka, but like 150 kilometers away, and like I encountered like some 6 languages.
Wow.
On that bus ride.
Wow.
From different language families and whatnot. So and I want to like shed some more light on that, and I think like on one hand, like Western academics don't have that level of like they're not familiar with the region.
They're not close enough to
it. Exactly. Like
They are not here. Exactly. While they may work a lot on it and know the languages, they're just not here.
Absolutely. Like
distance.
And they don't have like the level of context. Like they might they know that so and so language is like this or whatever, but they might know they might not know the cultural context, and they probably won't, because to be honest, even like unless you're a local, you won't. But if you're an Indian, like you have a better chance of.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and all the best. Really looking forward to. Just one last thing. What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, it's at TAINCHENGWEN. I'm spelling it out because
it's a complex word.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah.